listening to the Gilbert King Elisa Show.
Okay, so an Indian woman was killed in South London. Last week, a makeup artist by the name of CELINE DOOKHRAN, 19 years old, of southwest London, was found stuffed in a freezer in London in a home that's worth 1.5 million euros. This story has been brought to you by the Daily Mail as well as The Sun. And they're reporting that this woman's throat was cut by a man that she was in a relationship with and kidnapped, raped, and murdered. She was in a relationship with an Arab Muslim and she was an Indian Muslim. And two men, Mujahid Rashid, who was 33, is charged with kidnap, rape, and murder, as well as Vincent Tappy, who was 28 years old. They say that the men wore ski masks, duct taped, roped, and gagged CELINE. And it also says that she was kidnapped along with another woman who managed to escape, and this is why we find out that this is what occurred. It says that the men wore ski masks. They were both charged with kidnapping as well as rape of the second woman that managed to escape. They say that the family disapproved of the relationship that CELINE DOOKHRAN, who's 19 years old, had with a man who was not of her background. Again, she was an Indian Muslim, and the man that she had started a relationship with was an Arab Muslim. And the family disapproved of the relationship, and this is being classified in the news outlets as an honor killing. I mean, it's a phrase that doesn't seem to have much honor, but according to the definition, an honor killing is also sometimes called a shame killing, because it's the killing of usually of a family member due to the family believing that the victim brought shame or dishonor to the family. And this was the case with CELINE DOOKHRAN, where she apparently brought honor to the family by being with a man that was not of her background. And this is something that has been prevalent through many, many, many years, and also in many, many countries. General characteristics of this, according to Wikipedia, is the nature of the crime, where many members of the family or extended families act together and they bring death upon the woman that has brought some kind of dishonor or shame to the family, and therefore the murder, this homicide, is seen as justified. And it's something that we don't have too much experience here in this side of the world, but in some families, in some cultures, if the person that is under the roof of the parents and they wish to make their own decision as far as relationships, this can make families very upset. It'll bring a lot of dishonor. It'll bring a lot of shame to the family, especially if they had other ideas of what was going to happen in the future of this woman. And sometimes what they do is they hire people, if it's not a family member, and what they will do is they'll set up a time when this event will go down. And so in this case, it appears that CELINE was dragged out of a shower and she was tased and kidnapped and brought to a place where then her throat was slit and her friend managed to escape. Now, there's a lot of questions around the story because, first of all, not only who did it and who set it up. We know who did it, but who set it up, and the nature of the relationship. The photo that you see of Miss DOOKHRAN down there was their photos from her Twitter page, and we still don't have much information in regards to the man who she was in a relationship with. Also, it's funny that rape was part of her execution, because for something that was supposed to be dishonorable and something that was supposed to bring ill repute to her, why is rape even included? Not that murder is even better, or being kidnapped was much better, but why is rape something that is included? Is it either to bring more shame into what happened? Because I don't see how it can add any kind of clarity or any kind of feeling of any feeling that this person did somehow now is justified by doing possibly something that can bring even more shame to the family. And I know a lot of people who, just from my travels, that are in similar situations, but not exactly in this situation, but they feel pretty much that if they break from what the family has set up for them in a way of arranged marriage, that there is always a possibility that they can be ostracized from the family. There's always a feeling that they're going to be given ugly names that women don't want to go by. So they are, in a way, they're shamed to maintain a certain order, a certain familiar order, and if they break from it, then they know what the consequences will be. I've spoken to some families also, and some women in this situation, that anytime they go anywhere, they have to bring a lot of people with them, and especially if they're going out and there's going to be a guy present, she has to bring at least 3 or 4 of her friends, so that the community doesn't look at it as something that's strange, as something that is going to be talked or shamed or bring dishonor to the family. Now, there seems to be they seem to come from a family that had some money, and I say that just because they were in a house that was valued at 1.5 million euros. And let's say, for example, and this is all speculation, if you can afford a house that's worth that much, you could probably hire some kind of goons to go about fulfilling the task of bringing honor to such a family. Also, many honor killings are also done for reasons of sexual orientation. So if someone of a certain background is known to be gay, lesbian, or identifies by a gender other than their own, that is also seen to bring shame to the family. Also, in lesser known cases, but we know of a few, that a rape victim is also then seen, it also brings shame to the family. So an honor killing in their behalf many times is seen as justified. So for homosexuality, for breaking from family tradition, from being the talk of gossip, just simple gossip, and your family feels shamed, where the family can no longer be seen as a reputable family, then somehow killing of the person in question then somehow brings reputation back to the family. And this is not, of course, it's not something that every family does. This is not something that every family has to deal with, but there is this feeling of, well, I don't want to let my family down, not only by my career choices, but also in my choice in spouse and the way that I choose to live my life. So let me know what you think, because this was tragic. This was a tragedy that happened, I believe it was last week. And, another form of honor killing is forced suicide, where they bring enough shame on the person who has brought so-called shame on the family, and they're forced to commit suicide through a variety of ways. Uh, some there was a time where people used to burn themselves alive just because of the shame that they were feeling, and to restore the good name of the family. And this all sounds ridiculous, but every culture has their own practice that other cultures can't understand, and it's a shame that this young lady, by no means does she seem to be a woman of ill repute, or someone that by seeing someone else would bring disrespect to the family. But who knows how many tanglings were involved in this murder. Yeah, instead of honor killings, they should just call it murder, because there's no justification for something like this to happen. But it's just terrible. Let me know what you think.
This has been a Gilbert King Elisa production.